For the past 8 months, I have not streamed any music. Instead, I have been using this. Hey everyone, it's Ange. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. When I was a kid, MP3 players were all the rage. I had a silver 3rd gen iPod Nano, and when I was in middle school, I upgraded to the iPod Touch 4th gen, which yes, I still have, it still works, and it has Flappy Bird on it. For a while, I wasn't allowed to bring my iPod to school with me, but my friend had a little stick USB MP3 player that she would bring, and we would listen to the same 5 songs on repeat all the way to school every single morning. All of the music I had on my iPods either came from the CDs that my parents had, music that my mom had downloaded from Napster or LimeWire, and occasionally songs or albums that I bought myself using iTunes gift cards I got for my birthday. If you want to get an idea of the time period, the first album I ever bought with my own money was The END by Black Eyed Peas. But once I got a smartphone in high school, streaming music was the thing to do. So like everyone else at the time, I got a Spotify account and I started to build my own library of songs and all my playlists, and iPods kind of faded into memory. No one was really using them anymore. Gone were the days of carrying around multiple devices, because why would you do that when your phone could do everything all in one device? Back in 2020, you might have gotten recommended some videos by a little YouTuber called DankPods. If you're watching this video and have somehow never heard of him, he makes videos about iPods, MP3 players, phones, and lots of different weird technology.
It looks like a witch's curse!
His early iPod modding videos, though, are the ones that went viral, and the popularity of those videos seemed to reignite everyone's interest in those silly little MP3 players. Modding iPods became the cool new craze, and of course, I was not immune to that. If you've seen some of my past videos, you might have guessed that I'm into tech a little bit, and I especially love old and nostalgic technology from my childhood. I still use my old Game Boy Advance, my DS Lite, Sega Genesis, PS2, and I even have a new 2DS that I have jailbroken so I can emulate games on it. And I even learned to code just to make myself an old school looking website. Something else that you might know is that I love music. I was a band, choir, and theater kid in high school, and I even went to college for music. The idea of taking an old piece of technology, especially an old iPod, cracking it open, updating it, and getting to use it every day was something that was right up my alley. Unfortunately for me at the time, I was freshly graduated college during the middle of a pandemic and had no job and no money. And so that meant I needed to wait, and as more time passed, I eventually forgot about iPods again, as my silly little brain likes to forget about things. Fast forward to 2023, and I really wanted to start digitally detoxing from my smartphone and social media. I had heard of some people decentralizing their smartphones, which is basically getting rid of their smartphone in favor of a collection of dumber technology. So think flip phones, MP3 players, normal non-smart watches, digital camera, journal, that kind of thing. And I decided that decentralizing was the way that would be best for me to stop using my phone. Partially for the benefits of getting away from the technology that I was addicted to, but also partially because of my nostalgia for the tech from the good old days from when I was a kid. Okay, maybe it was mostly because I just wanted a fun little project to do. That year, my birthday gift to myself would be to mod myself an iPod. At first, I really wanted to build a 5th gen iPod completely from scratch and completely just customize it from the bottom up, but that would have cost me so much money, and I was not confident enough in my skills to not be able to mess anything up. So the next thing I looked into was replacing the battery and storage on the iPod Nano that I already had. But I learned pretty quickly that opening the thing up would be way more trouble than it was worth, and you can't even put additional storage on the 3rd gen Nano that I have, so that was just not an option for me. I'd assumed that at this point the iPod modding craze would have passed and things would have gone back to being a little more reasonably priced, but getting a secondhand iPod was still pretty expensive. I was trying to keep the whole project under $100, so buying a 5th gen iPod Classic and replacing the battery and storage was just not an option. So in terms of iPods that could be modded, that really only left me with one choice, the iPod mini. Luckily, those ones were fairly cheap, and I was able to get a second gen mini from eBay for $32 and got a flash memory adapter, 256 gigabyte SD card, and a brand new battery. I was, and still kind of am, a complete noob when it comes to electronics, but I just followed a few tutorials I found on YouTube, and I was pretty easily able to open the thing up, unplug and replace the battery and storage, and put it all back together with no problems, minus a little bit of damage to the case. Using iTunes was exactly like I remembered it, and after a few hours of uploading music, I had my new iPod up and running, no problems. Now, all of my music is in one place. I don't have to rely on data or streaming services, and I can listen to literally anything I want without worrying if it's on Spotify. And the best thing is, I can directly support musicians I like by buying their music without giving money to a middleman business that promotes AI musicians over real ones, pays the actual musicians on their platform basically nothing, and whose CEO gave $700 million to a company that makes AI military drone tech, which are all things that I do not support. A quick little aside before we go over to the desk and I show you my iPod's guts. Old iPods have a super good digital to analog converter, or DAC as most normal people call it, which from my very, very limited understanding basically means that your music will sound really, really good if you have the right headphones. You can even get super cool and install a software called Rockbox, which lets you play FLAC files, which are basically a file type that have a way higher audio quality than normal MP3 files. And if you get nice IEMs, then your music sounds really, really good, but honestly, the audiophile stuff kind of just goes right over my head. If you're interested at all in that audiophile stuff, I totally recommend YouTubers like DankPods because they can explain it a lot better and get you started in that hobby. Okay, let's go over to the desk and get this thing popped open. Welcome everyone over to my desk. We're doing kind of a DankPods style thing, which is appropriate because we're cracking open my iPod. So this is Stwabioe, my child. Let's go over into my settings and I'll show you a little bit about. Yes, I have 6,000 songs downloaded on here, which have taken a long time for me to gather together. But what I want to show you over here are the guts of this thing. So we're going to put it to sleep, and I'm going to make sure to turn the hold switch on so we don't accidentally open it. And we will start getting it open. So opening iPod minis is pretty easy. So you just need to take off these two white covers and the whole thing will just slide right out of here. So let us start up here, and you can see the damage I inflicted up top here because I did not have a handy little toolkit to open it when I first did it. Okay, let's crack into here. And all of this comes off super easy because I've done this about 1,000,000 times to fix it. So there's the top. There's the bottom. And now, these metal bits, you kind of just have to unclip them and take them out. And the top has 2 screws we need to take out. So let's start there. They're just a normal Phillips head screwdrivers, and I have this iFixit kit that has come in so handy while doing projects like this. Okay. And then go down here. I'm gonna use these little tweezers to try and take this thing out. And you wanna be really careful that you don't damage the ribbon cable that's up in there. You can kind of see it hiding. Maybe that's not the best tool to do that with. Maybe we'll just use this guy. This is the part that always takes me the longest. Oh shoot. That's no good. Okay, we're back. That took a lot longer than I expected it to. But Just gotta pop this guy out. Nice. So now you have to disconnect this little ribbon cable. Use my fingernails to do that. And then this just kind of comes out. So you push from the bottom and all the guts slide out. The touchpad does not come out, but the rest of it just kind of comes out. Yahoo! That was not an important piece that came out. We'll set this over here. So there's its guts. Beautiful, isn't it? Screen. And here's the mods that I did. So this new battery, super easy to do. You just unplug it from here, the old one, and then you get the new one, put it in, plug it in, easy peasy. Just make sure you buy the right battery, because I did not buy the right battery the first time, and things swell up so much that I could barely get it out, and it was making a buzzing noise, and I thought it was gonna catch on fire. So the other mod that I did is this. So normally this is a little tiny hard drive, and it's the cutest thing ever, and I actually took it apart because it looked like it would be fun to get inside of it. But so all this is something to hold this little SD card in here. And you can see all of my tape in here because I was having a problem with the SD card coming unlodged, but yeah, all it does is just plugs in right there, and that's all you do. I have not replaced the screen, nor have I messed with replacing the click wheel. And I know if you mess up some of these parts down here, I don't really know which ones. If you mess up any of these, you can mess up your click wheel and then your iPod is toast. Unless you know how to fix it, and I don't know how to do that. You just have it all together. I honestly do not remember what that little piece of tape is for, so I'm not gonna put it back in. And to put it back together, you just do things the opposite way. So make sure you're lined up, because there's these little tabs on here that you want your stuff to be lined up with. And then you just very carefully, oh, you don't do that. That's fine. That means it's alive, right? You just very carefully slide it back together, making sure not to break any wires on your battery. Nice, and we're back in. So just reconnect the ribbon cable. I believe this is the ribbon cable for your touch wheel, and you just reassemble it. So I'm gonna put this back in, which it's a lot easier to put in than it is to take out. You just line it up and you click it back into here. Took me a while, but that is all back in. Now I'm going to put the screws back on the top. People will glue these back into place, but I have found that mine just sit in here nicely, and I take this apart kind of frequently enough that I don't want them permanently back in place. This one clicks in there nice and stays good. And that's all there is to it. Yay, still works. In a time where most things we watch, play, and listen to are just streams or digital downloads, I think it is so important that we actually start to own things again. Most often, when you buy a digital product, you're only getting a license to the content, not the actual game or music or movie. And if the platform that you got the digital product on goes under, then you might not even have access to the thing you bought anymore. But if you purchase physical things like DVDs, CDs, Blu-rays, or records, you can actually own the content, and you can listen or watch the thing until the end of time. And If you digitize the disc onto your computer, you can even have your content if the physical disc breaks. Heck, even if you just buy the digital files of music through something like Bandcamp, at least you have a copy of it on the hard drive of your computer, and it won't disappear if Bandcamp ever shuts down. And hey, using an iPod makes you look super cool, right? Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end. Making these videos always takes me way longer than I expect them to, and I am definitely not a pro editor or scriptwriter or anything, but I just have so much fun talking about these stupid things that no one in real life really wants to sit here and listen to me yap about. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see me yap more about my silly little projects. Okay, bye.